Hey, fanatic. That bitch go pew when I shoot. It's on mute. That bitch go pew when I shoot. It's on mute. Hey, hold on. Bitch, be quiet. Lot of niggas fake, so I'm moving in silence. 200 on the dash when I speed down the highway. You gotta be quiet because I shoot with a silence. So like, who that right there? Hold on, baby, come here. Be quiet, let me whisper a couple things in your ear. Bitch, I'm a dog, I don't love these hoes. Yes, I still look for you. You stand tiptoes. A lot of niggas hate, but they don't press shit. Shoot the silence every night, he can't catch this. Potato on the pistol, finna fry, nigga. Put the gun on silent, be quiet, nigga. Hold on, cause that bitch go pew when I shoot, it's on mute. That bitch go pew when I shoot, it's on mute. That bitch go pew. Hey.
There's something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there telling me I got to beware. I think it's time we stop. Children, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. There's battle lines being drawn. Nobody's right if everybody's wrong. There's something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there telling me I got to beware. I think it's time we stop. Children, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down.
It's on mute. Hey, hold on. Bitch, be quiet. Lot of niggas fake, so I'm moving in silence. 200 on the dash when I speed down the highway. You gotta be quiet because I shoot with a silence. So like, who that right there? Hold on, baby, come here. Be quiet, let me whisper a couple things in your ear. Bitch, I'm a dog, I don't love these hoes. Yes, I still look for you. You stand tiptoes. A lot of niggas hate, but they don't press shit. Shoot the silence every night, he can't catch this. Potato on the pistol, finna fry, nigga. Put the gun on silent, be quiet, nigga. Hold on, cause that bitch go pew when I shoot, it's on mute. That bitch go pew when I shoot, it's on mute. That bitch go pew. Hey, fanatic.
Pew, pew, pew. There you go, pew, when I shoot. Pew, when I shoot. What's up, family? What's up? What's up? We about to get right into it. Y'all already know I ain't gonna waste your time. Let's go. Let's get into the story of the Caddo tribes. Tribes. The originals. Let's start right here.
IAG history of the Indian tribes is enriched by many well-known TMTQ facts, but those times, especially, Happy Face, in the Southwest, have been sparingly treated by works of romance. This would be a sufficient excuse for the following story, if one were needed. If I should apologize for giving it in poetical form, I would say that I first mottoed it in prose, and I have written 500 pages of prose for each page of verse that I have attempted to write. I have gone to the muses, not from them, in NJY efforts to find literary recreation. In the field of the imagination, it will hardly be denied that poetry is often superior to prose. Henry Hallam has given the decadence of poetry as one of the causes for the condition of the Middle Ages. The slaughter of the Caddo tribe was related to me years ago by a Confederate officer while we were hunting in the old Indian Territory. Pointing to a little mountain near which we were tenting on the occasion, he said, "There on that bluff the Caddo tribe was slaughtered in a battle that was forced upon them by the Comanches." He had heard the details years before from an aged Indian, and related the story to me. It made a deep impression upon my mind. The scene of the heroic defense was interesting. At the western end of a curved elevation, covered as it was at the time with variegated leaves and wild flowers, and smiling in the autumn sunlight, the little mountain lay like a horizontal rainbow before us. The picture is as fair in my memory today as it was then. Pace the Caddo are believed to have belonged to the Hasina tribe, one branch of which, the Tajas, gave the name to Texas. The Caddo were a tribe of peace, but they sometimes suffered for the sins of bad tribes, although they rarely, if ever, had any trouble with the white people, except when they were misunderstood. The traditions of the Caddo have been preserved by Prof. Geo. A. Dorsey, and published by the Carnegie Institution at Washington. One of these traditions, "The Girl Who Married the Evening Star," suggested the theme for Chapter 2 of this story. The Caddo were divided into two nations, one occupying western Kansas and Nebraska, but the early home of the southern Caddo was on Lower Red River in North Louisiana, and adjoining portions of Texas, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. They met the Spanish explorers as early as 1540, and throughout their history were friendly toward the white people. Their early habitations were conical grass lodges, and they were devoted to agricultural life, their prosperity, and peaceful nature, so long as they were let alone, being proverbial. It may justly be said that there was never a time when they could be called a savage people. I am indebted to M.R. Joseph Leonard, a Caddo Indian, for translations, and to M.R. C.V. Stenchusum, U.S. Indian agent at Fort Sill, for courtesies, after I had concluded that the Caddo language was one of the lost Indian arts. The Caddo tribe, 'neath southern skies, had never welcomed war, for peace was ever dear to them. They loved their peaceful star, and centuries of peaceful life had made them strong and free. The turbid river flowing paid its tribute to the sea. Primeval forests everywhere resounded with the song. Through aisles of pines and tangled oaks the light played all day long, and nature's music mingled with the air, the song of songs to sing. The human soul delights to hear the song of life forever ring. Beyond the forests, prairies spread in rolling grandeur far, their greatest harvests long unsown, now rich as gold mines are. Throughout the land, the earth and sky seemed ever quaint as new. Each day brought forth some new delight, each night in wonder grew. Primeval time beheld a world far different from that unfurled before our eyes in grandeur now. Omnipotence, to whom we bow, created sun, moon, stars, and earth. At his command they had their birth. And later came the race of man, according to the Maker's plan, endoavid we know with heaven's love to guide them to the land above. Before the sunlight had been born to fill the east with heaven's morn, and chase the darkness from the west, that all the land might again be blessed. In time when they in numbers grew and many objects did pursue, the people chose their best man chief who ruled the tribe and brought no grief, for his commands were just, and all obeying. There was ne'er a fall until at last the chief desired a council called, and he required that all the people promptly meet. The council did this call repeat, pronounced to them the fatal word remove / and never more was heard the word remain. A rolling stone henceforth was better known to represent the hapless tribes. Their ceaseless wandering describes. A westward movement then began / as in the blood, the fate of man. The western range in grandeur rose. That land the tribe in council chose. The people sought a home out there, the newest land, where frigid air pressed down the rugged mountainside, and where the western ocean tide, the southern sea so long a dream, perhaps no broader than a stream, appeared in all its grandeur free. The greatest body of the sea. 3. A maiden fair once loved a star, because no other near or far could win her love, and so she said no earthly suitor would she wed. By day and night she loved to roam, she tired o'y family, friends, and home, and watched the stars whose twinkling light the heavens fill throughout the night. The evening star enchained her gaze, she dreaming dwelt in fond amaze. At length she prayed that brilliant star might be her bow and come from far, and lo, the star came very near. Alas! Her soul was filled with fear, an aged man the star appeared, unfit for love or peace she feared. She watched him long, she read his face, he wanted every manly grace, and said, "You wished to be my wife. So now your wish comes true, my life. My home, real light is yours, be true, for all the graces wait on you." She longed to flee, her heart grew cold, her soul abhorred her lord so old. "Nay, nay," said he, "you shall not go, the die is cast, you wished it so." 'Twas thus the groom on star-like stood before his bride so fair and good. He said, "Your beauty wins a star, but fate the prize will hold and march." She saw too late a prison held her fast. Her mate she now beheld an unilus J monster was, a star endowed with nature's flaws. He took her on a mountain high that seemed to reach the far blue sky, and placed her on the topmost rock beyond the need of chain or lock, or any other vain design. "The world is yours, but you are mine," he said. "You are my queen of love beneath the stars, but high above the earthly lot you've known below," he added, then departing, left her so. A thrill of terror filled her soul. Her grief was far beyond control, but death was welcome, for 'twould end her fatal love naught else could mend. One chance remained, for circling round a wee, an eagle, scorned the ground. No other life was in her sight, her sole companion near the height, and yet kind fate now made amends, the eagle, not her tyrant sends. His eyrie held by one so fair at first disturbed the chief of air, and then strange pity pierced the bird. For soon he circled near, and heard her grief expressed in unknown prayer, the eagle perched with vacant stare. She saw his talons hard as steel, low great the strength his legs reveal beneath his wings outspread on high, and earthward ready soon to fly. His legs brought hope, she seized them both, her only hope she dared not loathe. Her flight was like a shooting star, the veil to her, though dimly far, became the object of her flight, the eagle bore her from the height. Did ever maiden fly like this? From grim despair to fields of bliss? The flight of joy athwart the air, the pilot eagle's golden stare, the ride for life brought freedom's boon, return to earth before life's noon, 'twas fate reversed, and death outdone, 'twas love revenged, the victory won. In Caddo the feast of maize, the plant that all the people praise, was held in autumn's golden days. 1. The fruitage of the fields. The harvest, nature's golden boon, the beauty of the harvest moon, the ripened grain of autumn's noon God's bounty ever yields. In spring the flowers ever new, so rich and rare in every hue to which the rainbow lends no clue, the hand of nature shields. The winter with its frost and snow, the killing blasts that rudely blow and wither plant life here below its mighty power wields. Surpassing all the works of art, appealing to the human heart, whose secret nature won't impart, or earth would match the sky. The wings that give the eagle flight, the dewdrops melting in the light, with heaven's wonders all in sight to charm the eager eye. October, second summertime, in this our favored southern clime. The month of gold, the month sublime, because its beauty quaint, its Indian summer, famed and fair, the hazy magic of the autumn air. With golden colors everywhere, the frost chief's fingers paint. The leaves that autumn paints with tints of which art gives us only hints, in letters which the frost pen prints on pages quaint and fair. Perfection of the human hand, whose art will evermore expand, is reached when true to nature planned, the wizard touch of care. In flowerland they love to dwell, where beauty haunted vale and dell, the glory of the land to tell, the people's fortune will. The songbirds chosen paradise, Dame Nature's music free of price, in autumn also could suffice. Its mystery reveal. To halt the southward pigeon flights, too, that came across the northern heights, the rarest of the winged sights, a billion in the throng, whose rise like distant thunder seemed to wake the echoes in a land that dreamed, where nature's wonders were redeemed by heaven's gift of song. Thus sleepless nature labored on to work the wonders of the dawn in peaceful days with darkness gone, and beauty everywhere. The W-carat world was young and music free throughout the land, from sea to sea, a feast of nature's minstrelsy forever in the air. Before that time reports were spread, mysterious as from the dead, that pale-faced men divinely bred had landed on the soil, who spoke in unknown tongues and rode strange steeds with glossy mane that flowed, the gift that nature's hand bestowed on willing beasts of toil. At length De Leon came in sight, 3, ambitious, heartless, blind to right, the fount of youth both day and night he sought in western isles. A man of iron with nerves of steel, whose heartless deeds might well reveal his heart of steel. A bigot's zeal the noblest soul defile. The wilderness in regal state he pierced, and led his band to fate in search of fortune all too late, or find his youth regained. The first to reach the flowery land, an arrow shot by savage hands struck down the leader of the band, his object unattained. De Vaca now passed through the lands, and left his impress on the sands. Enslaved by rude or warlike bands his way was long delayed, yet on and on he later pressed, his course was often lost or guessed, but onward to the golden west he journeyed and these made. De Soto next sought greater fame and fortune, and his sword and name around him brought with kindred aim 600 gallant men who lived for fortune and renown, those mail-clad men whose very frown had kept the people poor and down. God gives us now for then. Those heartless men, those pious tools, for God alone the savage fools they vowed to teach in sacred schools, yet made them abject slaves. Throughout the wild and boundless waste the sword and lash made cruel haste till retribution came and chased them back or to their graves. De Soto, stern, had drawn his sword upon the blinded savage horde, with lash he coaxed, with sword implored, yet claimed he came from God. The red men quick received the new, at once believed their masters true. At length their doubts rebellious grew, they mocked the pious fraud. The Mississippi was his prize, but this he did not realize.
The
treasured
Mississippi
golden
River,
merchandise he had forever lost.
ancestry land.
Heroic man of will, of steel, to whom the Inca did appeal, Pizarro's baseness did reveal, the Inca's life it cost. The mighty river grandeur lent became his
Demise
tomb
of
and
the
monument,
Incas.
the hero dying in his tent, death nerved his lofty soul. But ere in death at last he slept, an Indian girl beside him wept. Her vigil still at midnight kept in grief beyond control. 5. La Salle, a great heroic soul, then sought the Mississippi's goal, an empire for his king he stole, the trusting tribes betrayed, and yet his day adjudged him right. His day was darker than our night, but brought us to a grander light. His glory ne'er will fade. 6. One half the world today must mourn because by world war fields are torn, because her sons to death are born in numbers all unknown. How vain the boast, we're better now, have turned the sword into the plow. We mock the maker when we bow and say, how good we've grown. We may be good at making arms to speed along the world's alarms, for ducats adding to the storms that fill the world with woe. Our opportunity we mock, our hearts for lucre turn to rock. The mangled millions vainly knock for peace, receive a blow. 7. The warlord brings our people war across the sea so dark and far, our guns must answer neath the star that should have brought us peace. To arms we cry for honor's sake, to arms we go, position take. In world war deeds our record make for peace that war may cease. Let none desert the flag, nor turn and basely fly, for mem return is warmed by deeds that ever burn within the breasts of men. On land and sea fair liberty. Thy flag our flag, forever free where'er thy sacred cause may be, forever wave. Amen. Our country calls, let us respond, For patriotism is our bond, our union, honor, strength beyond ask not for reasons why. The flag,
Patriotism. Listen.
the emblem of the free, and banner of our liberty that waves for all on land or sea, for thee we live or die. 6. The advent of his
Greetings that way.
pale-faced foes,
Peace, brother.
that came with prayers to end with blows, was not the worst of Indian woes that never will be told. The thirst for blood is nature's bribe. And age-long wars of tribe with tribe nor pen nor brush will describe, will ne'er again unfold. But now the hills so peaceful seem, the bloody hunting grounds a dream. Like Chickamauga's peaceful stream that bears a tragic name. For long the land with blood was rife before the white man brought his strife and arts that challenged Indian life to deeds of tragic fame. 'Twas proof of nature's direful games, the tribal wars with blood-bought names outliving even savage aims and deeds so far amiss. Time was when every hill and dale, each landscape smiling in the vale, was battle-shrined, a crimson tale whose malice seemed to hiss. A story told in accents bold, more lasting than the love of gold, a love so young and yet so old the story never dies. A world of wrong those deeds supplied though long ago their mem re-died, the words remain electrified and live in mute surprise. They tell of people born to weep before they went to final sleep, the painted rock, the lover's leap, where silence shields romance. Behold the bluff where valor long withstood assaults by numbers strong, against the rude and bloody throng, against the grim advance. Opposing bands met blows with blows, while here and there great mounds arose, unnamed, untold in verse or prose those monuments of earth creations made human hands.
Opposing hands met blows with blows, fights, wars, right? While here and there great mounds arose, mounds arising from the burial, right? The burial of the people after wars, fights against the nations, division, so on and so forth. Unnamed, untold in verse or prose, those monuments of earth creations made by human hands. The mounds created by human hands, expressing dreams and vanishing bands. Got to start the thing
'Twas
over.
proof of nature's direful games, the tribal wars, a story, a world of wrong those deeds supplied though long ago their mem re-died, the words remain electrified and live in mute surprise. They tell of people born to weep before they went to final sleep, the painted rock, the lover's leap, where silence shields romance. Behold the bluff where valor long withstood assaults by numbers strong, against the rude and bloody throng, against the grim advance. Opposing bands met blows with blows, while here and there great mounds arose, unnamed, untold in verse or prose those monuments of earth creations made human hands. Expressing dreams of banished bands and adding glory to the lands those dreams of noble birth.
Noble birth. Noble.
Their silence pleads a peaceful aim, for war is but a wretched game, save in defense and honor's name. For then the rights reserved. For other wars are false and vain.
False and vain.
The slaughter pens of hill and plain where heaven views a million slain whose death was undeserved. For rage of battle, lust of wars. The prompt resort of bloody Mars and Gothic Thor, the exemplars of Europe's war-bought fame, where men in battle ranks are pressed dire proof that peace is yet the best. For East no less than for the West in heaven's frowning name. May peace be blessed by all the world and war's black banners all be furled, the warlords everywhere be hurled in grim despair and rage, to weep for seas of human gore their sins have cost, a million more. Will not appease, alas a core counts one in this our age. But better things must come at last when all this thirst for blood is past, when rage for battle is outclassed by peaceful aims not dreams. A causeless WAR is never right, it cannot bear the searching light that seeks the depths of causeless might beneath which hope still beams.
I'm going to get back to this because I have more information on the case. Actually, let me read this part a little bit and then we will get into this next information. I really want you to get, like, really, when it comes to these agents, right? All right, let's go. So, the early Caddo history, right? The Caddo originated in the lower Mississippi Valley. And then they spread west along the river system. Sometime between 700 and 800, they settled the area between Arkansas and the middle reaches of the Red, the Sabine, the Angelina, the Natchez rivers, and the adopted culture. It says they grew corn and pumpkin as primary crops, which later combined with beans and squash and stimulated population growth, more growth. The name Caddo derives from a French abbreviation of Cadeau d'Aco, which is real cheap. The Caddo people in historic times after 1535 comprised at least 25 distinct but closely affiliated groups that were centered on the Great Bend of the Red River, and extending into the Piney Woods region. The Piney Woods is a temperate, it is a coniferous forest that is the ecoregion and is present day East Texas, Southern Arkansas, Western Louisiana, and Southeastern Oklahoma. The Caddo people differ from most other American Indian groups that lived in Texas because of their territorial stability, the stability, being stable and grounded. The settlement and the use of lands had great permanence. The Caddo lived and they sustained themselves in the most broad forested and well-watered landscapes for over 1,000 years. By the time of contact with the Europeans, the Caddos were organized into three kin-based affiliate groups. Three kin-based affiliate groups, right? The Hasinai Confederacy, called Cenis by the French and the Teas by the Spanish. They were occupied between 9 and 12 communities in the Natchez and the Angelina River Valley region, which is in East Texas, right? The Caddo Hadacha and the Natacholis Confederation lived in the area of the Red River and north and east of what are now the bordering areas of Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana. See the map? You guys see the map? Okay. And this is just going over a little bit of their information, and I'm going to make sure that we get back to this because I definitely want to do part 2 on this. I may not do it on TikTok, but I definitely will be doing it on YouTube. But I want to get to this next important document so you guys can really get the gist of all these wars and people impeding and coming in coincidence with this. Let's start with this report, letting you know about the Bureau of Indian Affairs and meeting with the agents, meeting with the Indian agents. Okay, look at this, y'all. Y'all ain't gonna believe this.
Report in full of an interview between Indian tribes of the state of Comoros and the Commissioner of Indian Affairs, Mr. Bogey. Reported by C. H. Emerson, January 30th, 1867. Kansas tribes of Indians on a visit to the Commissioner of Indian Affairs. After the introduction of each delegation separately to Commissioner Bogey, he addressed them as follows: "My friends, this is a very pleasant occasion to me, as the representative of the government, to meet you here this morning. You have all come here in the capacity of agents from your different tribes, for the purpose of carrying out, if possible, an undertaking for your own good hereafter.
Appreciate you, brother.
It is a most serious undertaking, and I have thought a great deal of the subject. The meeting today is merely one of introduction, not of business, but yet it is proper that I should give you the outline of my views, with regard to the great question which has brought you to the city. When I took charge of this bureau, as commissioner, the first thing that presented itself to my mind was the removal of those Indian tribes occupying the eastern part of the state of Kansas to a new country. Perhaps there is no man in this country who has more cause for sympathy for the Indians than I have. At the same time, I do not wish to be understood as indulging in any sickly sentimentalities. Born in the West myself, I was in my early youth accustomed to the Indians, and some of the Indians here present today were born in the same town as myself, and Indian boys were my playmates. Those early impressions have never been effaced from my heart, and 2. I have yet a deep sympathy for the Indian, and although he may not always be in the right, yet he is not always in the wrong. This question was presented low my mind when I first took charge of this office: what should be done with those tribes in the eastern portion of the state of Kansas? They were longer the barbarians that their forefathers had been, they were becoming rapidly civilized. Most of them had abandoned the
Barbarians,
chase
really?
and had settled down in
The
peace
nerve.
and were pursuing domestic industry. Many of them were educated men and Christians and fast assimilating their condition to the condition of the white man of this continent. Therefore, it became a matter of very serious importance with me in considering their condition. Whether they could be more benefited in the country they were then inhabiting, or whether it would be better to go to a new country, where they would have more lands and a new future, boundless in extent, and more durable in time. Another reason which had great weight with me, was this: for the good of the state of Kansas, for the good of the white man who has settled in that state,
For the good of
I
who?
thought it better, as a matter of justice
For the
to
good
the
of who?
people of that great and enterprising state, that the Indians, without doing them any injustice, should be removed, provided it resulted in no injuries to them, but rather a benefit. The whole subject presented itself to me as one of great and vital importance, and for this reason you have come here to present your views and discuss this matter with me, representatives as you are of the different tribes located in that state. I believe you are all here, or soon will be, as delegates to this business interview. To you belongs a certain quantity of land, in the aggregate amounting to a very large quantity. Has lands have become valuable. It was the labor of the white man and the white settlers that made them so, it was not yours. I say this with no intention of doing you injustice, because you will find that I will be fair and candid with you in all of our transactions.
Now, how the hell do they expect us to believe that? Being fair and candid with us? You have the Bureau of Indian Affairs being ran by someone that is not an Indian. Let's start there. This is a native that is created by the corporation, someone that is fit in through their articles of incorporation, and they have set them up as an agent. We know what agents are, right? It says these lands have become valuable. They already were valuable, right? It was the labor of the white man and the white settlers that came and made them so. How is that true? First off, let's correct the story. The white man and the white settlers, they were not. They were Slavs. They were slaves that came in. This is another part of the orchestrated story to make you think, hey, you're from Africa. If you're from Africa, you couldn't dang well be an Indian here and have lands here that your ancestors left to you with heresy that have been here for, what, thousands of years, right? Thousands of years. Not as savages, but as traders, right? Seafarers, so on and so forth. This is something we've been doing for centuries upon centuries. We're talking about thousands and thousands of years, right? So the labor of the white man and the white settlers, the labor, that is what? Servitude. What is labor? Labor is servitude, slavery. Indentured servants that were laboring, just like you're laboring on the market right now. Anytime you go and set up for that corporation, you are laboring for that corporation. So they came in, they were doing labor in the industry to promote and to grow and to get money to send back to their homes, so on and so forth, working off debts that they owed, needing to fulfill certain things, right? I say this with the no intention of doing you injustice, but it is injustice when you try to make it seem to be something else, right? Let's go on. I hate when they stop. Let's go over.
2. I have yet a deep sympathy for the good of the state of Kansas, no injuries to them, but rather a benefit. The whole subject presented itself to me as one of great and vital importance, and for this reason you have come here to present your views and discuss this matter with me, representatives as you are of the different tribes located in that state. I believe you are all here, or soon will be, as delegates to this business interview.
A business
to you belongs
interview.
a certain quantity of land, in the aggregate amounting to a very large quantity. Has lands have become valuable. It was the labor of the white man and the white settlers that made them so, it was not yours. I say this with no intention of doing you injustice, because you will find that I will be fair and candid with you in all of our transactions. It was the labor of the white man that increased the value of these lands, not yours yet. Notwithstanding this, it is your property. Therefore, it would be wrong for the delegation to expect any extravagant prices for their lands, and also wrong if the white people should receive those lands for small prices, and I assure you that there shall be no unworthy speculations. What we agree upon to be done, will be carried out to the letter, and with fidelity to the bargains we agree upon, permitting no improper advantage to be taken by the white man. The Indians shall receive, without any deduction, the amounts they are justly entitled to. The quantity of land you own in the state of Kansas is not so very large in number of acres, although considerable, yet it is worth a good deal. It will afford you ample means, by judicious administration, to secure you your new homes, and will also be ample enough to secure you such implements of husbandry as will be necessary to place you in good circumstances and condition. What specific plan will be adopted, it is not proper for me now to say. However, it will be my duty, as well as pleasure, to listen to such views as you may desire to express. I may not adopt those views, and you may not accept mine. I ask this delegation to speak and tell me, without diffidence or restraint, what they want and expect, and I shall be equally candid with them. One thing is certain, I shall want nothing but what I shall conceive to be for your own good. It is my duty, here, to consult with you, and then in my best judgment to do that which I think most conducive to your welfare. I shall, therefore, when the proper time comes, listen to your views, and if they accord with mine, shall unhesitatingly adopt them. I cannot let this singular occasion pass without one or two reflections. To all who have read the history of this country, it must be painful to think how rapidly nations pass away. I, myself, young as I am, remember when many of these tribes of which you are the delegated representatives were strong and powerful tribes, and yet how weak you are today. It is no disgrace to be weak. There is nothing humiliating attending it. You are only by the law of God, and the great law of nature, passing away. There is something instructive in this divine
You
law.
hear this?
When we look back to what was once so
Did
strong,
you hear this?
and contemplate your present weakness, we scarcely can say that in this weakened condition there is any disgrace. But you must remember that he who is weak cannot undertake to cope with the strong, lest in that battle he be overcome and destroyed. You, as the descendants of the first occupants of this country, should not undertake to wage war against the white man who is strong, not because he carries the bow and arrows, but because he is armed with the weapons of civilization.
Because you wouldn't do these
and
people like this if
Christianity.
you were strong mentally.
The arts of peace, and not the arts of war, must be cultivated. The Indians of the American continent area, high and noble race of men, the pages of our history are full of their warriors' bold and brave deeds, but do not let war and warlike deeds control your aspirations any longer. You must settle down as peaceable and quiet men, not in submission.
Settle down as peaceable and quiet men, not in submission, but according to the laws of civilization. Civilizing the nation. Civil suits, things of this nature. When we think of things that are civil, you think that's fair, right? But how could it be fair if you are mutilating tribes of people, right? Trying to take over their land, their history, like just everything they have, literally. When these people came in, moving into their homes, literally sleeping in their beds, sitting at their tables, wearing their clothes, taking their family recipes, so on and so forth, right?
According to the laws of civilization, become participants in common with your white brethren in endeavoring to ameliorate the condition of those of your race who zealously cling to the traditions of their forefathers, and by this movement aid in swelling the great wave
this
of
is what we're reading
civilization.
there. Report in
It
full
is a
of the
singular
interview
thing
between
that I meet
Indians
here today, the
and
descendants
the
of
state.
many whom in my earlier days I fought against as a soldier, perhaps not very valiantly, and I also observe many faces which I recognize, and the name of Keokuk, one of your number, is as familiar with me as a household word. I remember now, when I was a soldier in the Black Hawk War, how ambitious I was, and how confidently I expected to achieve fame and honor by killing the ancestor of this warrior. The Sacs and Foxes, 30 years ago, were a very powerful tribe, but they are passing today the remnant, instead of being a warlike tribe, are a quiet, peaceable, and civilized people, and, together
When
with
they
the
talk
other
about our
Indians in the
tribes being
state, have
disseminated,
made great
right?
progress in civilization and agriculture. There are some.
When they talk about these tribes being disseminated, you have to remember they were only disseminated by paper, right? Because the tribes, when they have taken them and they have contorted them or conformed them into Native American tribes from American Indian tribes, making them indigenous to the corporation that is being created using the Bureau of Indian Affairs, using the Bureau of Land Management, using the governmental agencies and corporations to incorporate the people into statehood. Them being incorporated into statehood, having new misnomers placed upon them to be orchestrated in a fraudulent system that now creates a new system, a system that would fit in with their maritime, their trading, their admiralty, having the restraints on the people that actually are the power of the land, knowing that all constitutional rights goes back to actually protecting the American Indian. And these things are all law. We're not talking legalities. We're not talking statutes. We're not talking codes. We're not talking policies. We're talking about laws. The American Indian is protected by law if they're able to stand in the law, understanding, knowing the law, understanding the law. Yes, they have no shame, brother, none. That's why we're going to expose them every chance we get.
Representatives of your tribes in the state that are as intelligent and as well educated men as any who inhabit this country. In regard to the new country, I am informed that the land is very inviting, affording every means
I
that
bet
will
it
secure
is.
your happiness and for it, and I feel very anxious that there should be no complaint about it, for it would be a source of great pain to me the rest of my days if I should learn that, in taking you from your present homes, and placing you in a new country, that it did not satisfy you, and therefore I want the matter fully and fairly discussed in our meeting. I have sent commissioners to examine and report to me the condition and fertility of your proposed new homes, and I presume they will be here in time to take part in the meetings. If this country, formerly known as the lease land, which now belongs to the United States, by fee simple title, does not satisfy you, we
Belong to the United States by fee simple title? Really? So by paperwork and assuming and trying to take over proposals of a land using statutes and acts, as I said, because the Constitution actually protects the law of the Indian. We'll get into that.
have other arrangements with the Chickasaws, Choctaws, and Cherokees, by which you may obtain home.s in their country. My information is that the land is well adapted to farming and raising of stock, and, if this is so, it is better for you to go there and get large reservations and there settle down, close together,
Oh, yeah.
each tribe upon its own
Members
reservation.
only gang. Let's go. Let's get into there with the Bureau of Indian Affairs. They're talking about these agents, right? They setting up their agents, the ones that they can have perpetrate a fraud, the ones that they can use to dip into the trust funds, the mineral rights, right? All of the things that have been left from your heresy, all of your ancestors, indigenous land, mineral rights, oil rights, water rights, emerald rights, like we could just go on and on and on. Oil rights, so on and so forth. That fake flower moon story that they put out, they made a big thing about it. They omitted talking about all of the oil owners like Sarah Rector. Are you guys familiar with Sarah Rector? Please look her up. If not, you could possibly go on my page and get information, because I do have a few bills on there talking about the information of the first indigenous millionaire at 11 years old. She was a millionaire at 11 years old. Her status was white due to status being rich. Her funds were stolen when she was incorporated and put into conservatorship with an affiliate of the Rockefellers, taking her funding, using and abusing this child who had no heirs to her name. She had not one child. And going into the conservatorship, the Rockefellers used that conservatorship to take all of her money and start what? The United States court for the third time. Let's go.
then go among those nations more powerful and numerous than you are.
That's right. We got
It
a lot
would
of
be a
land,
source
Fry
of great
Bread.
pain to me to hear that I had placed you upon unproductive land, and it will be a pleasure to me if I can
Unproductive
be the
land.
humble instrument
You
of
hear it?
changing you from where you now are to a new and better home. I believe I have given you a brief outline of my views upon the subject which has brought you here. I wish you, however, to distinctly understand that this meeting is not a business one.
I know that's right,
We
Fry
have
Bread.
been convened
allotment
together for the
land.
purpose of forming each other's acquaintance, so that hereafter we may understand each other. You have a large interest in the matter, but I have none at all, excepting the interest which a man feels in doing his duty as an officer and as a man to a man, as a Christian to what I hope you will soon all be underscore to another Christian.
Another Christian.
My friends, I thank you for your kind attention. At the conclusion of Mr. Bogey's welcome, those of the Indians unacquainted with the English language, among whom was Keokuk, son of the celebrated prophet of the Sacs and Foxes, requested the commissioner to communicate to them, in brief, through their interpreter, the substance of what he had said. Mr. Bogey then said, speaking to the interpreter, you will say to them, that I have brought them here for the purpose of consulting with them as to the propriety of removing to this near country, not to force them. It will be a matter of great importance to them, as their happiness will hereafter depend upon this movement. I want them to tell me, through you, candidly, how they feel about it, and what they understand to be for their good. Also say, in removing them from their present country, the object is to procure for them a reasonable compensation for their lands, and also give them new homes in the other country, which exchange will leave them a surplus of money to buy such things as they may need. I wish all the delegates here present, at our next interview, to give me what they believe to be the value of their property, so as to prevent any outside speculation. Say to them that the thing is to be fairly and squarely done.
Sure it is.
They must not put the value of their property too high.
Why not?
And for this purpose should consult their friends, and tell me
They
what it is
can't put
worth.
the property value too high because they have to keep it at a cheap amount so that they can acquire it, right? This is part of their rules. You listening? Completely nuts.
Been convened together for the purpose of forming each other's present country. I wish all the delegates here present, at our next interview, to give me what they believe to be the value of their property, so as to prevent any outside speculation. Say to them that the thing is to be fairly and squarely done. They must not put the...
I just saw that, Fry Bread. You said you're not far from the Caddo Nation. Oh, wow. That's interesting, brother. Very interesting.
value of their property too high, and for this purpose should consult their friends, and tell me what it is worth. Tell them I will have the commissioners back in a few days from the new country to report to me as to the quality and condition of the land, and when I know that we may then be able to conclude
I
our
definitely will.
arrangements.
After this, Adonis, I'll get
They
to
responded, in giving evidence of their approval, by a significant hug. On parting with the commissigna, each of the delegates present went forward and warmly shook the hand of the commissioner, evincing a warm approbation of what had been said to them. Keokuk, on shaking the hand of the corn misnoner, stated that he would like to make a few remarks, provided his good father would be pleased to listen to him. Mr. Bogey gave his assent, whereupon the chief proceeded, his language being interpreted as follows. My good father, I am very glad to see you as much so as a child is to see its parent, and I am glad to see you because you speak out plainly and I like a man so to speak, as I can then tell what he is. All of our children of the different tribes have come here to make a treaty with you, and I, for myself, am glad to be with them, and to hear what you and they have to say. We will all talk it over among ourselves, so that at the next meeting we will thoroughly understand each other. I am glad that I have come here, but your people brought us so fast that they threw us out of the wagon and came near killing all of your children. Laughter. At the conclusion of Keokuk's speech, the delegation withdrew. We will all talk it over among ourselves, so that at the next meeting we will thoroughly understand each other. I am glad that I have come here, but your people brought us so fast that they threw us out of the wagon and came near killing all of your children. Laughter. At the conclusion of Keokuk's speech, the delegation withdrew. The following tribes are represented by newly appointed delegations to enter into treaties with the United States, viz. Ka3. Population Sacs and Foxes. Do. Chippewas and Muncies. Do. Potawatomis. Do. Delawares. Do. Miamis. Do. Plankeshaws, Weas, Koskiskis, and Peopias. Do. Kickapoos. Do.
The Kickapoos.
Shawnee. Do.
The Shawnees.
Atoas.
Seneca. Canada.
Wyandits. Do. Derpaws. Do. Senecas and Shawnees. Do. Senecas. Do. And perhaps Laos and Oneidas. There are 3,000 Osages, but not represented. 670, 766, 80, 1,992, 1,064, 127, 230, 242, 660, 200, 435, 350, 210, 130.
I don't know why it stopped. Hold on, guys. Okay, I think that was the end once it went to all those. Okay, let's get back to the other document. Oh my goodness. All right, guys. We're going to get into Title 25, Interests of Agents and Employees in Indian Contracts. Let's get into it and see what their great interest was. Right? Oh my gosh, I can't get rid of this cough. I got to get something to drink in a minute, guys. I'm going to step away for a second. Let's go. This is very important.
Laws applicable to Department of Agriculture, 1945 equals 915 titles. Hospitalization chasse-rerie service may be provided at naval hospitals and dispensaries outside of the continental limits of the United States and in Alaska, to the officers and employees of any department or agency of the federal government, to employees of a contractor with the United States or his STIB contractor, to the dependents of such persons, and in emergencies to such other persons as the Secretary of the Navy may prescribe, provided that such hospitalization and dispensary service to other than the dependents of Naval and Marine Corps personnel shall be permitted only where facilities are not other ISE available in reasonably accessible and appropriate non-sterile hospitals. The charge for hospitalization or dispensary service for persons other than dependents of Naval and Marine Copyright Olds personnel as specified in this section shall be at such rates as the President shall from time to time prescribe, and shall be deposited as provided in Section 32 of this title. May 10, 1943, H. 95, 4, 57 STAT 81-35. Limitation of medical, surgical, or hospital services. Hospitalization of the dependents of Naval and Marine Corps personnel and of the persons outside the naval service mentioned in Section 34 of this title shall be furnished only for acute medical and surgical conditions, exclusive of nervous, mental, or contagious diseases or those requiring domiciliary care. Dental treatment shall be administered only as an adjunct to inpatient hospital
Hospitals
care.
are part of a military war site, believe it or not. Hospitality, right? These things are going back to these people being hostile. I don't want to go too far into that, but just think of that when you hear them talk about the services. This is all under that.
And shall not include dental prosthesis or orthoniat. May 10, 1948. CH 95, 5, 57 STAT 81. Title 25 Indians 87. Interest of agents and employees in Indian contracts. No agent or employee of the United States government or of any of the departments thereof, while in the service of the government, shall have any interest, directly or indirectly, Contingent or absolute, near or remote, in any contract made, or under negotiation, with the government or with the Indians, _ for the purchase or transportation or delivery of goods or supplies for the Indians, or for the removal of the Indians, nor shall any such agent or employee collude with any person who may attempt to obtain any such contract for the purpose of enabling such person to
Contracts.
obtain the same. The violation of any 33F the provisions of this section shall be a misdemeanor, and shall be punished by a fine of not less than $500 nor more than $5,000, and by removal from office, and
Misappropriation of funds, right? Being misappropriate with the funds. The violation of any of the provisions of the section shall be a misdemeanor. It's a crime for them to misappropriate your funds. A misdemeanor, and shall be punished by a fine in not less than $500 nor more than $5,000, and to be removed from the office. Let's go.
addition thereto, the court shall, in its discretion,
That's
have
right.
the power to punish by imprisonment of not more than 6 months. June 22nd, 1874, ch 389, 10, 18 stat. 177_87A. Same. Purchases from Indians by employees anything contained in sections 68 and 87 of this title to the contrary not _withstanding, employees of the United States government, including those in the Indian service, may, under such rules and regulations as the Secretary of the Interior shall prescribe, be permitted to purchase from any Indian or Indian organization any arts and crafts or any other ione service, or commodity, OE produced, rendered, owned, controlled, or furnished by any Indian or Indian organization, provided, however, that no employee of the United States government shall be permitted to make any such purchases for the purpose of engaging directly or indirectly in the commercial selling, reselling, trading, or bartering of said purchases by the said employee. June 19, 1939, ch 210, 53 stat 840, ie 337. Allotments in national forests. The Secretary of the Interior is authorized, in his discretion, to make allotments within the national forests in conformity with the general allotment laws, to any Indian occupying, living on, or having improvements on land included within any such national forests who is not entitled to an allotment on any existing Indian reservation, or for whose tribe no reservation has been provided, or whose reservation was not sufficient to afford an allotment to each member thereof. All applications for allotments under the provisions of this section shall be submitted to the Secretary of Agriculture, who shall determine whether the lands applied for are more valuable for agricultural or grazing purposes than for the timber found thereon, and if it be found that the lands applied for are more valuable for agricultural or grazing purposes, then the Secretary of the Interior shall cause allotment to be made as herein provided. June 25, 1910, ch. 431, 31, 36 stat 363, _SE Title 26 Internal Revenue Code for Income Tax SS equals Public Salary Tax Act. The Public Salary Tax Act, April 12, 1939.
Income tax, Internal Revenue Code, income tax. This is going to be very important. Please pay attention.
ch. 59, Title 2, 201 to 211, of 53 stat 575 to 577, as amended June 1940, 11:45 a.m. H. S. 10. 419, Title 4, 401, 54 Stat. 527, and October 21, 1942, ch 619, Title V, 87,509, buys 50.
Let me read that real quick. Safety Salary Tax Act, right? That's April the 8th of 1939. Chapter 59 of Title 2, subsection 201 through 211. 53 statute 575 to 577 as amended June the 25th, 1940. The EST chapter 419, Title 4, subsection 401, and 54 statute 527 on October the 21st of 1942, chapter 619. Also, Title 5, subsection 509B, like boy. 56 statute 967, in addition to the amendments of paragraph A in this particular section that contains provisions of a temporary nature as follows. Let's go.
6 STAT 967, in addition to amendments of paragraph A of this section, 4 contained provisions of a temporary nature as follows. Seconds. 201 any amount of income tax, including interest, additions to tax, and additional amounts, for any taxable year beginning prior to January 1, 1938, to the extent attributable to compensation for personal service as an officer or employee of a state, or any political subdivision thereof, or any agency or instrumentality of any one or more of the foregoing. A. Shall not be assessed, and no proceeding in court for the collection thereof shall be begun or prosecuted, unless pursuant to an assessment made prior to January 1st, 1939, b. If assessed after December 31st, 1938, the assessment shall be abated, and any amount collected in pursuance of such assessment shall be credited or refunded in the same manner as in the case of an income tax erroneously forecollected, and OEC shall, if collected on or before the date of the enactment of this act, be credited or refunded in the same manner as in the case of an income tax erroneously collected, in the following cases 1. Where a claim for refund of such amount was filed before January as IA and was not disallowed on or before the date of the enactment of is A. 2. Where such claim was so filed but has been disallowed and the time for beginning suit with respect thereto has not expired on the date of the enactment of this act, e. 3. Where a suit for the recovery of such amount is pending on the date, ca of the enactment of this act, and DETASLETEYE. Percent Serena 5 Moss. 4. Ryera Upcan to the Board of Tax Appeals has been filed with respect to such amount and the board's decision has not become final before the date of the enactment of this act. Sector 202. In the case of any tax.
All right, hold on, guys. I don't want to get into that. I do want to get more into that, but I think I'm going to do something separate on just the taxes. I want you guys to really see the responsibilities, and let's start here. All right, let's go.
930 penalties added June 9th, 1631. Use of government depositories in connection with payment of taxes. The Secretary may authorize incorporated.
Use of government depositories in connection with payment of taxes. Use of government depositories in connection with payment of taxes. Pay very close attention. It tells you right here that the Secretary may authorize incorporated banks. The Secretary may authorize incorporated banks or trust companies, which are depositories. Banks are depositories, or financial agents. A bank is a financial institute, and it's a financial agent of the United States, and they are to receive any taxes under this chapter in such manner at such times and under such conditions as he may be prescribed to. And he shall prescribe the manner, time, and the conditions under which the receipt of such taxes by such depositories, and financial agents is to be treated as payment of such taxes. Pay close attention, guys.
936 laws applicable to Department of Agriculture, 1945 1630. Verification of returns, etc. A. Power of Commissioner A to require the Commissioner, under regulations prescribed by him with the approval of the Secretary, may require that any return, statement, or other document required to be filed under this chapter shall contain or be verified by a written declaration that It is made under the penalties of perjury,
Mm-mm.
and such
By
declaration
written
shall be in
declaration,
lieu of
huh?
any oath otherwise required.
Oh, really?
8. B. Penalties. Every person who willfully makes and subscribes any return, statement, or other document, which contains or is verified by a written declaration that it is made under the penalties of perjury, and which he does not believe to be true and correct as to every material matter, shall be guilty of a felony, and, upon conviction thereof, shall be subject to the penalties prescribed for perjury in Section 125 of the
Criminal Code, huh?
Added June 9th, 1948, 7 p.m., EWT, CH 120, 2, A, 57 STAT 126, SES effective date ESER as effective July 1st, 1948, see note preceding section
Hey, Dee Dee.
1621 of this
Peace,
title.
sis.
1631. Use of government depositories in connection with payment of taxes. The
Here we go.
Secretary may authorize
Government
incorporated
depositories.
banks or trust companies which are depositories or financial agents of the United States to receive any taxes under this chapter in such manner, at such times, and under such conditions as he may prescribe, and he shall prescribe the manner, time, and conditions under which trademark the receipt of such taxes by such depositories and financial agents is to be treated as payment of such taxes to the collectors. Added June 9, 1948, 7 p.m. B. WT, CH 120, 82 GA, SI Stat. 126. Dean 1632.
Act to be performed
Acts
by
to be
agents.
performed by agents in case of a fiduciary, agent, or other person has the control, receipt.
Let me read that again. Acts to be performed by agents in case of a fiduciary, agent, or other person that has the control, the receipt, the custody, or the disposal of, or pays the wages of an employee or group of employers. The employees that are employed by one or more employers, right? The commissioner, under regulations prescribed by him with the approval of the secretary, is authorized to designate such fiduciary agents or other persons to perform such acts as are received or required of the employees under this particular chapter, right? Let's go.
Custody, or disposal of, or pays the wages of an employee or group of employees, employed by one or more employers, the commissioner, under regulations prescribed by him with the approval of the secretary, is authorized to designate such fiduciary agent, or other person to perform such acts as are required of employers under this chapter and as the commissioner may specify. X7 Sept as may be otherwise prescribed by the commissioner with the approval of the secretary, all provisions of law, including penalties, applicable in respect of an employer shall be applicable to a fiduciary, agent or other person so designated but, except as so provided, the employer for whom such fiduciary, agent or other copyright person acts shall remain subject to the provisions of law, including penalties, applicable in respect of employers. Added June 9, 1943.7 p.m. EWTECH 120, 6°24, A, of Stato, Fay Cotton Futures AE 1920. Tax, A, rate upon each contract of sale of any cotton for future delivery made at, on, or in any exchange, board of trade, or similar institution or place of business, there shall. 21u.sc.a. 23. Laws applicable to Department of Agriculture, 1945 937 of the cotton involved in any such Cone Act. B. By whom paid the tax imposed by subsection A. OA shall be paid by the seller of the cotton involved in the contract of sale. C. How paid the tax in OE by subsection A. Shall be paid by means of stamps which shall be affixed to such contracts, or to the memoranda evidencing the same, and cancelled in pliance with rules and regulations which shall be preserved by the Secretary of the Treasury. D. Cross-reference. OE for authority of the Secretary of the Treasury to promulgate rules and appointments for the collection of the tax. See Section 1928. A.
Fiduciaries.
538 STAT 210. EE derivation PT Pi Section. A. From Act August 11, 1916, CH 318. 8. 39 STAT 476. By. Subsections. B. C. From Act August.
Go to bills of
By
exchange for you
1916,
guys to see this.
CH 11, 39 STAT 480A underscore similar provisions. 1914 August 18, 1914, CH 255, 3, 38 STAT 693 1922. Exemption of basis grade contracts. A. Conditions. No tax shall be levied under this chapter on any contract of sale mentioned in section 1920. A.
No
If the
tax
contract
levied
comply-
on any contract of sale mentioned in section 1920A if the contract comply with each of the following conditions. Listen, if it complies with each of the following conditions.
with each of the following conditions. 1. Conformity with section 1925. A. And regulations. Conform to the requirements in section 1925. A. Of. And the rules and regulations made pursuant to this chapter. 2. Specification of grade, price, dates of sale and settlement. Specify the basis grade for the cotton involved in the contract, which shall be one of the grades for
Contracts,
which standards
all
are established
contracts.
by the Secretary of
Not just one
Agriculture,
contract.
except grades prohibited from being delivered on a contract made under this section by the fifth paragraph of this subsection. The price per pound at which the cotton of such basis grade is contracted to be bought or sold, the date when the purchase or sale was made, and the month or months in which the contract is to be fulfilled or settled, provided that middling shall be deemed the basis grade incorporated into the contract if no other basis grade be specified.
Incorporated into the contract. Incorporated into the contract. We're about to get to bills of exchange real quick. Let's check this last sentence out. Let's go.
OE nag pile met sayas error rise, wages, premiums, annuities, compensations, 239. EWT, CA 239, 147. Information at source. A. Payments of $500 or more. I all persons, in whatever capacity acting, including lessees or mortgagers of real or personal property, fiduciaries, and employers, means payment to another person, of interest, rent, sala. OE nag pile met sayas error rise, wages, premiums, annuities, compensations, remunerations, emoluments, or other fixed or determinable gains, profits, and income, other than payments described in section 148A, or 149, of $500 or more in any taxable year, or, in the case of such payments made by the United States, the officers or employees of the United States having information as to such payments and required to make returns in regard thereto by the regulations hereinafter provided for, shall render a true and accurate return to the Commissioner, under such regulations and in such form and manner and to such extent as may be prescribed by him with the approval of the Secretary, setting forth the amount of such gains, profits, and income, and the name and address of the recipient of such payment. B. Returns regardless of amount of payment. Such returns may be required, regardless of amounts. 1. In the case of payments of interest upon bonds, mortgages, deeds of trust, or other similar obligations of corporations. 2. In the case of payments of interest upon obligations of the United States or any agency.
Upon obligations of who?
Or instrumentality. B. Returns regardless of amount of payment. Such returns may be required, regardless of amounts. 1. In the case of payments of interest upon bonds, mortgages, deeds of trust, or other similar obligations of corporations. 2. In the case of payments of interest upon obligations of the United States or any agency. or instrumentality thereof, and 3. In the case of collections of items, not payable in the United States, of interest upon the bonds of foreign countries and interest upon the bonds of and dividends from foreign corporations by persons undertaking as a
Foreign
matter of business.
corporations, right? People that are incorporated in the United States to come and work for what? The people as fiduciary agents that are what? Hired through the federal government orchestrated system of commerce when they come to incorporate themselves with articles of incorporation, certificates of participation. They are now part of the United States Corp. Now you have signed up to be what? A fiduciary, an agent, and a fiduciary of the people. So how do you then turn around and start to charge people? Making payments, all these different things that they're telling you have to do when it comes to these mortgages, so on and so forth, right? Let's go.
Or for profit the collection of foreign pay for ments of such interest or dividends by means of coupons, checks, or bills of exchange.
That's right.
8. C. Recipient to furnish name and address when necessary to make effective the provisions of this section. The name and address of the recipient of income shall be furnished upon demand of the person paying the income. 538 STAT 64, June 412, 828. Collection of income tax at source on wages 1621. Definitions as used in the subchapter. A. Wages. The term wages means all remuneration, other than fees paid to a public official, for services performed by an employee for his employer, including the cash value of all remuneration paid in any medium other than cash, except that such term shall not include remuneration paid 1. For services performed as a member of the military or naval forces of the United States, other than pensions and retired pay includable in gross income under Chapter 1, or 2. For agricultural labor, as defined in Section 1426(7). H.
Of course,
or
Aboriginal
3.
meaning.
For domestic service in a private home, local college, a club, or local chapter of a college, fraternity, or sorority,
Listen.
or __. 4. For casual labor not in the course of the employer's trade or business, or 5. For services by a citizen or resident of the United States for a foreign government or for the government of the Commonwealth of the Philippines, or mar equals het res, geaes na yer ada e, btetasoeaepheaeapteins basity habicatiani. 6. For services performed by a fenerified Indi _visual, other than a resident of a contiguous country who enters and leaves the United States at frequent intervals, or equals. 7. For such services, performed by a non-resident alien individual who is a resident of a contiguous country and who enters and leaves the United States at frequent intervals, as may be designated by regulations prescribed by the Commissioner with the approval of the Secretary, or 8. For services for an employer performed by a citizen or resident of the United States while outside the United States, as defined in Section 3797.
Want me to go back?
9. If the major part of the services for such employer during the calendar year is to be performed outside the United States, or 9. For services performed as a minister of the gospel. For the purpose of paragraph 8. Services performed on or in connection with an American vessel, as defined in of the services, vals. 6. For services performed by a fenerified Indi _visual, other than a resident of a contiguous country who enters and leaves the United States for H, or 3. For domestic service in a private home, local college, a club, or local chapter of a college, fraternity, or sorority, or __. 4. For casual labor not in the course of the employer's trade or business, or 5. For services by a citizen or resident of the United States for a foreign government or for the government of the Commonwealth of the Philippines, or mar equals het res, geaes na yer ada e, btetasoeaepheaeapteins basity habicatiani. 6. For services performed by a fenerified Indi _visual, other than a resident of a contiguous country who enters and leaves the United States at frequent intervals, or equals. 7. For such services, performed by a
You're
non-resident
welcome.
alien individual who is a resident of a contiguous country and who enters and leaves the United States at frequent
Frequent
intervals,
intervals.
as may be designated by regulations prescribed by the Commissioner with the approval of the Secretary, or 8. For services for an employer performed by a citizen or resident of the United States while outside the United States, as defined in Section 3797, A. 9, if the major part of the services for such employer during the calendar year is to be performed outside the United States, or 9. For services performed as a minister of the gospel. Underscore for the purpose of paragraph 8, services performed on or in connection with an American vessel, as defined in section 1426, G, under a contract of service which is entered into within the United States or during the performance of which the vessel touches at a port in the United States, or on or in connection with any vessel as an employee of the United States employed through the War Shipping Administration, shall not constitute services performed outside the United States.
All right,
B.
hold on, guys.
Payroll period.
I gotta
IOD
get to
means a
this next
period for
section
which
real
a
quick.
payment of wages is ordinarily.
Okay, let's start here real quick. I am I'm gonna start up here actually. Okay, I'm gonna start here and then I'll go back.
Underscore laws applicable to Depart 3683. Necessary and proper to care. RS 3682. EE Derivation Act July 12, 1870, CH 251. 3,16 STAT 250. 675. Purchases from contingent funds except as
Purchases
otherwise
from
underscore
contingent
provided no part
funds,
of the contingent fund
public
appropriated
money.
to any department, bureau, or office shall be applied to the purchase of any articles except such as the head of the department shall deem underscore necessary and proper to carry on the business of the department, bureau, or office, and shall, by written order, direct to be pro underscore cured. RS 3683. Derivation Act August 26, 1842, CH 202, 19, 5 STAT 527. Underscore laws applicable to Department of Agriculture, 1945 1069-678. Purchases of books from appropriations for contingent underscore expenses law books, books of reference, and periodicals for use of any executive department, or other government establishment not under an executive department, at the seat of government, shall not be purchased or paid for from any appropriation. Made for underscore laws applicable to 3683. Necessary and proper to carry on the business of the department, bureau, or office, and shall, by written order, direct to be pro underscore RS 3682. EE Derivation Act July 12,
Purchase from contingent
1870,
funds.
CH 251, 3,16 STAT 250. 675.
They don't get it over there.
Purchases from contingent funds except as otherwise underscore provided no part of the contingent fund appropriated to any department, bureau, or office shall be applied to the purchase of any articles except such as the head of the department shall deem underscore necessary and proper to carry on the business of the department, bureau, or office, and shall,
They're making
by
that
written
decision.
order, direct to be pro underscore cured. RS 3683. Derivation Act August 26, 1842, CH 202, 19, 5 STAT 527. Underscore laws applicable to Department of Agriculture, 1945 1069-678. Purchases of books from appropriations for contingent underscore expenses law books, books of reference, and periodicals for use of any executive department, or other government establishment not under an executive department, at the seat of government, shall not be purchased or paid for from any appropriation. Made for contingent expenses or for any specific or general purpose unless such purchase is authorized and payment therefore specifically provided in the law granting the appropriation. March 15th, 1898, CH 68, 3, 30 STAT 316, 679. Expenditure from appropriations for private telephone
yes, they
service
are
kept
the
as
fiduciaries.
otherwise
They don't
provided
act
by
as
law.
fiduciaries.
No money
They
appropriated.
are the fiduciaries. Let me pull something up for you guys real quick. Hold on. I might have to go into something else real quick. Hold on. I'm going to show you this, just in case you don't quite get it. Where is the fiduciary roles at? Damn, it's not the. I think that's the wrong one. Hold on. I have. I definitely want to show you guys this. Hold on. I had too many windows pulled up. Hold on a second, guys. Let's see. I think they're on here. Oh, brother. I want to pull up just the fiduciary responsibility roles. Hold on, guys. I'm going to show you. I don't know by heart, but I do have them pulled up. Hold on a second. I wish I could just run these codes off. Oh my gosh, it's so frustrating. Hold on a second. Nope. Dang, I want to pull it up real quick. I should have had this pulled up for you as well. Hold on a second. Nope. Dang it. I got 30 windows open, guys. Like, this is crazy. I can't even find stuff. Let me close some of these out. Maybe I'll be able to pull it. It's not this one. It's not on here. Let me see. I think it may be in here. Man acknowledgement. Trademark. Oh, I do kind of want to show y'all the World Intellectual Property Association, but I'm going to watch that. Hold on a second. I don't want to lose this page. Hold on a second, guys. I got to find this because somebody's asking, so I definitely want to make sure you guys see this. Hold on a second. Oh, my gosh. Might be down here. Too many windows open. Too many windows open. I got like 60 windows open. Okay, hold on a second. I don't think it's in here. Could be in here. Where the heck is it? Nope, it's under there. Let me go down here. I hate when I do this. If I was thinking to pull that up, it would have been a lot easier for me, but I didn't think to have that up. So now I'm trying to find it in the windows. Oh, it's very frustrating. Let me see. Oh, I should show y'all that. Oh, I can't do that. It's gonna be too much. Hold on. It might be on here. Dang it. Okay, basically, I can't. I'm taking too long trying to find that. Hold on a second. Let me explain something. What it is the fiduciary responsibility is their role as agents. They are agents of the United States that work or are supposed to work for we the people. Their responsibility is to take care of things for you. Let me say that. They are trustees. They are normal trustees. Didi, where's the pen? Didi, Diori. Hold on a second. Where's the pen? Yeah, the pen. Bring it. So, your mom. So when it comes to that, they have responsibility as the fiduciary for the trust, right? So their responsibility goes into making sure that they are doing things appropriately for you. I hadn't been able to do anything in a while. I've been kind of busy. Hold on one second. Hold on one second, guys. Guys, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to be back a little later with something. Peace, love, and bliss to YouTube chat. And yep, I'm out, guys. Hold on one second, guys.